I'd like to talk to you about some things that keep me awake at night. One, the progressive loss of freedom. The second is the progressive indifference toward human life. We've seen what I would call a trashing of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms that took place at the University of Ottawa when a conservative commentator was there to speak by the name of Ann Coulter. And as the people gathered at the university for this meeting, some students, hundreds of students who were protesting gathered, and there was threats of violence, clashes with police, and we've seen the clips. And the student union wouldn't even allow any advertising for a conservative commentator to take place. And the event was actually called off simply because it was considered physically too dangerous to consider. Now, here's my beef. It seems to me some left-wingers just didn't really care or have any regard for the freedoms that are guaranteed to us in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Now, what are some of those freedoms? The Charter guarantees freedom of thought, guarantees freedom of belief, opinion, expression, guarantees free press and other media. They couldn't put any advertising in the student union. It guarantees peaceful assembly and guarantees association. Now, what did these lawless thugs do on the 23rd of March? See, it's not about Ann Coulter. They trampled the guaranteed rights of law-abiding citizens to freedom of assembly. They trampled the guaranteed rights of other Canadian citizens. And this was not just an attack on a few people in a meeting hall. If these charter rights are not guaranteed to all of us, then they are meaningless. And the whole premise of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms is to define our guaranteed rights. And the preamble of the Canadian Charter of Rights says that we are subject to the rule of law. And in this situation that took place at the University of Ottawa, so much for the freedom guarantees. All we have to do is make enough noise. Did those students have a right to protest? Of course they did. They can protest across the street, but they cannot disrupt a free assembly that is guaranteed, because when we do that, we become a lawless culture. And we need to really come to the place where we ask ourselves, is this Canadian Charter something that has value? Do the authorities at the university have any accountability for allowing that meeting to be canceled? It would seem to me that if our Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms that guarantees these rights to Canadians, then the hierarchy, those in authority at the university, owe me as a Canadian who accepts the Canadian Charter of Rights, and it owes all Canadians an apology for allowing a lawless group of thugs to shut down the freedom guarantees that are accorded to every citizen. They're either accorded to every citizen or none. We cannot have it both ways.